looking at?
I'm preparing for when a wax figure is made of me and I have to sit very, very still. Do they really do that? Do they like sit still for that, or do they just go off a photo?
They go off a photo.
Oh.
Great intro. Hey, welcome back to our stupid reactions. You idiots, I'm Corbin.
I'm Rick.
Follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
for
it's
juicy
juicy.
content. Thanks for the
Say
Patreon
it,
folks. Check out.
Drink it.
Ring the bell to go to notification. God, bang! Call home person. Use channels in the description below. Whoa! Wow!
Wow!
Wow, we're off to a hot start today. Hi.
Hallucinating again?
Yes, always. Today we're doing a movie review. I just assumed you would do it.
I was doing it.
Of
I
the-
just was a little slow today.
Malayalam movie, 2014 Malayalam movie, Bangalore.
Bangalore.
I'm pronouncing that right. The
Yes.
The place of Bangalore.
Yes.
Bangalore Days.
so. That's
a
how I pronounce it.
comedy drama romance directed by and written by, say her name.
Anjali Menon. KK? Relation?
I don't know. I have no idea. You guys can let us know. And then starring, you could just say the leads.
The names on the list here, Nazriya Nazim, Niven Pauli, Dulquer Salmaan, Fahadh Faasil, and Parvathy Thiruvothu. Forgive me if I pronounced anybody's name.
Yes.
I really don't like to do that.
But obviously, it's been recommended for a while. It's actually the Patreon Regional Movie of the Month. Every month, our Patreon members of any tier get to, they kind of vote on 4 films to go in a poll, and then we go off of whoever wins that poll of a regional and a Hindi film every single month. This was their regional of the month.
You should make them pole dance.
I should.
Yeah, you did that a lot, and
did.
now it's their turn.
But anyways, so this will be a 100% spoiler review. It's a 2014 film. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Come back. We saw it on Amazon. So Rick, your initial thoughts, please.
Well, I must preface my thoughts
Yes.
with other thoughts.
Oh,
Because
that's a thought.
it is a thought. Because there has been a weird tendency recently that if I negatively criticize a film, I'm accused of going on a rant by just in the comments. And then what happens is the salient points I was trying to make often get lost in the wind. And all that's the takeaway from the review or the critique is Rick went on a rant. When my desire for all of this is to see artistry elevated.
Yes.
I didn't like it. I have a lot of problems with it. I can point them out only if they're things that are going to be of merit in terms of the artistic aspects that I think could have been elevated in the film. Because some of them are understandably, there's a twofold thing. One is just my own subjective thing that no one has to agree with, and then there's other things that I believe are definitively objective, because this is the realm of theater. When you go to a movie, you go to a movie
Theater.
There you go. And theater is one of the fine arts, so it is fine artistry at a certain level. Therefore, that's my concern, is that whenever I watch a movie now, there's been this tendency toward me giving my critiques, and it just is, Rick's going on a rant. So if you just want to be entertained, I'm not your guy. I had a lot of problems with it, and I didn't like it.
No, I had problems with it as well. And overall, yeah, I probably wouldn't watch it again. But there were, here's why it's weird for me, because there were certain moments that I was like, oh, I'm invested right now.
I never got that far.
No, only in certain parts.
Okay.
I'm not saying that
even in the parts that I thought worked.
No, I'm not talking the overall thing. But there were certain moments in either a couple of their relationships and a couple of and it was mostly because of the actors, that I was like, oh, that's nice. And then the film would just do something just fucking weird. And it would take me all the way out, and I'd be like, what are you... This is so strange. It could have been an hour and 30 minutes as opposed to 2 hours 40.
Which that isn't necessarily the bell tolling for disaster, because Deborah has a comparable runtime, but Deborah doesn't have the problems that this one has.
But overall, I want to talk about a lot of stuff I did mostly enjoy. There was Probably more I didn't enjoy than I enjoyed, though. But I enjoyed most of the performances. Obviously, fahadh faasil I thought did well with what he was given. I thought for the most part, most of the time, all of the other three did really well as well, for the most part. I think a lot of the issues, though, that I've had was a lot with the writing. It's kind of similar to Death in the Gunge a little bit. Like
interesting comparison.
Yeah, because the problem I have with that film, even though I enjoyed that film way more than I enjoyed this one, was the writing was very weird, non-realistic dialogue writing.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of this.
True. There's a principle of writing, guys, that is a differentiation between good writing and bad writing. We've talked about certain things about context, showing more versus saying more. And one of the things for both television and film writing that screenwriters will teach is the difference between and then versus therefore because. And when you have a script or a storyline that's just and then, it doesn't require much forethought, and it doesn't continue the story forward or the arcs of the characters forward. It's just an and then. So we had this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Versus this happened, therefore it caused this to happen, or because it caused this to happen. And I found with the screenwriting for the story, there was far more and then than therefore because.
Yeah, and I did look up the director. This is not only it's technically her second, but her first one was in 2008, and then this was in 2014. So this was really her second. And I don't know if she wrote
6-year difference.
Yeah, so I saw a lot of that with directing and writing of that. It felt very like this person was very new at this.
The word I felt throughout, both in the storyline, the script writing, and everything, was juvenile.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that insultingly per se, as much as I mean that I would think that people who don't have a care or a knowledge about certain things with cinema, as well as being engaged at certain levels, because I didn't think any of the conflicts that the folks were dealing with, for the most part, were anything that I found to be problematic, where if I was in those situations or the people in those situations, I'm like, there's a lot worse things you could be going through right now.
It felt for some reason like they were trying to make 5 films in one film.
It did kind of feel that way.
And I was like, because I probably could have gotten on board with a bunch of the storylines being a film. Like the guy and the girl in the wheelchair, especially during the song moments, they had their moments that I was like, this could be a story. The whole fahadh faasil and the girl, that could have been an entire film.
The first and only time I felt myself starting to get drawn in and had a cute moment was when he gets on the plane and he meets, I forgot her name, the stewardess.
Yeah.
And they did a really funny thing with the score where it's this lovely, love song, and he hits his head and it immediately stops.
Yeah.
That was cute, and I liked their dynamic. I liked his but it kind of just never went anywhere for him.
And then she just made out with another guy and forgot he was there.
Which
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
That fight scene, everything about that scene, from the way it was executed to the fact that they were kissing, and it was one of those weird, they're kissing but they're not kissing moments.
And then they just forget he's there after she was getting him tea and they were having a lovely night.
Yeah.
Very strange. And then there was a bunch of those types of moments that would happen. It'd take you out of any momentum that you had.
And here's another thing, and I push really hard for this next thing.
Also, we went into this, I hadn't known that this was more of a Deborah style film.
Right, we knew that going in.
Then obviously a artsy. So we weren't looking for Oscar.
No way,
any way, shape, or form.
We knew going in. Corbin told me, hey, this is think Deborah, think rom-com, fun.
Yeah.
And
so that's where we were coming in from.
And in all sincerity, without giving anything away, Corbin typically will do that for me. If I don't remember it from the trailer, he'll say, hey, remember, this is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
A couple of things. First of all, whenever someone's doing English subtitles, it's going to help if they have a better understanding of English grammar. Because too many of the English subtitles, and when you're dealing with Malayalam, the language is going so freaking fast,
very fast,
that I knew what they meant, but having to look at the grammar and decipher it was pulling me out. As well as another thing that I try to be as gracious as I can, because I know it's been a constant throughout a lot of Indian film industry, is the dubbing and Foley work. My suspension of disbelief is always gone when every single scene has the same room tone and all audio, foreground and background, is mixed at the exact same level. And I know that when they pour the coffee, the sound of the coffee going in is going to be the same sound as her sigh. It just doesn't do service to the film.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that this was probably a lower budget film for a lot of reasons. But yeah, I might have even enjoyed the film if they could have. I could probably take this film and cut it down to an hour and a half, and I could probably make a good film out of this. I can almost guarantee you I probably could. But there was just so much thrown in that probably didn't need to be there. The dumbass ending. He falls. They apparently all stop. He was able to come back forward. I was dying. I was like, this is so stupid.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know.
And I was hoping like for a different type of ending, but that's kind of
and let's get into I don't know if you know about the controversy with the score. Because
No.
I felt like the score had some moments some moments that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But there were other moments that were I was like, okay, come on, really? Now, so here's the controversy. I don't know if you knew this, but there is a controversy, and it's a legitimate controversy about one of the main songs in there when they're in Bangalore, being in the exact same key with the exact same guitar riff and pretty much the same song structure to the point where there was a lawsuit. It's Bryan Adams' Summer of '69.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, that one didn't bother me as much. I mean, it's bothersome, but there's two other songs that were used, one of them repeatedly, the other one a couple times, and I thought, guys, this is straight up plagiarism. One was the motif for Rockabye Baby. That was constant. Ba, 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 ba,
Yeah, they
was
play
a
that all the
constant.
time.
And
Yeah,
a straight ripoff of the love theme in Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet. It was done a couple times, and I went, how did they get away with that? It is ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And I was like, that is like straight up copy. So
I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah, I heard those, and it really threw me because it's just straight up the exact copies.
Like I said, it was strange because there were certain moments, like especially the song numbers, not the background score so much. So even though that had some moments that, especially when they were getting in either whatever their relationships that they were going through at the time, because obviously this was a multi-person, well, what am I looking for?
It's three stories.
Yeah, three stories.
But it didn't weave itself the way Deborah did.
No, it didn't.
I cared about all three stories, and I felt like all three stories in the Deborah film all made a particular progression and all saw the characters go through some particular change so that when they came out the other end of it, there was a moral to the story and there was a lesson learned, and the relationship between the three of them deepened, even though they had deep conflict throughout. I never really got... The only ones I really felt like kind of got there were fahadh, faasil, and his wife.
Yeah, I got there a few times, just a few times though, with the guy and the girl in the wheelchair. Only a few times.
A few times.
Because then some of the writing kind of threw me off, and then I liked the beginning of that other guy's relationship on the airplane. That was great. Yeah. Other than that, I didn't much care. Like, you could have thrown out most of his story, and I think you could have got to the same place in the film.
I agree.
So there's a bunch of stuff that I would have just liked to have changed. I always want to really enjoy a film.
Always.
Especially obviously with Parvathy. We did see a person we have yet to be introduced to, but we've heard a lot about, is Parvathy. She's supposed to be a really good actress of Malayalam. We haven't really seen her, but she played the girl who died. Yeah, essentially. Right. Obviously, she was in here for 2 seconds. Yeah. But apparently, she's supposed to be this really, really good Malayalam actress. So you can let us know what of her stuff that I know she's in Take Off and other stuff. I think she works with Fafa a lot. Okay. But anyways,
in case, because I've seen comments like this come up in the past as well. In case there's anybody, you've put in a comment already about you guys don't know what you're talking about. This thing won all of these awards. Number one, that's fine. Number two, I've looked at where this was released, and I looked at who reviewed it, and I looked at the awards, and it's all regional. So, to me, that's like having your little league in the San Fernando Valley. Your team in the San Fernando Valley win and telling everybody that you are like the best team in the world, and that wasn't the World Series of Little League. Yeah. So I'm not saying that to frown on it. It's just my desire for the elevation of artistry if you're, because I see it all the time, you don't know what you're talking about because it got awards and reviews. That is not the barometer, just like box office isn't the barometer.
Yeah.
There's films that have won Oscars that were pieces of crap.
Yeah.
So,
Also, just once again, we weren't looking for Kumbalaji Nights.
No, we
were
really
looking
weren't.
for Deborah Dil Chata Hai. We were looking for those vibes.
Silly.
And I got some vibes with Dil Chata Hai, certain because I was like, it's three friends and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, so we're going, but it obviously never got to those points even for me, which obviously, even though I have problems with those films, overall, they're enjoyable films.
Yeah.
Obviously, they still have some writing and some acting issues that I think I addressed in the reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But you overall enjoyed the film. It's just this one never hit that mark fully.
Yep.
And so that's...
And it's not like, this isn't a film where I'm like angry about it, and when I was watching it, I'm like, let's get this over with. I was rooting for this while I was watching it. I was like, please, let's get on the right track, move and get it there, and it ended with me going, all right, I saw it, I won't watch it again.
Yeah.
So
well, let us know.
Sorry for those of you who love it.
Yeah, and it just be nice.
Yeah.
You wanted our opinion, and we're gonna give it to you.
Always
we're not gonna
gonna
lie
be
to you. But anyways, let us know what the next Malayalam film is, next Parvathy.
Parvathy film.
We haven't been introduced to her outside of this, and obviously she's in this for 0.2 seconds, so she can't really judge her off of this. And obviously, Fafa has 10,000 films coming out this month.
Exactly.
So let us know what's the next Malayalam film we should watch down below.